Alright. What is this? Whoa, what the fuck? What's the meaning of this? So that's a thinking mechanic? Pressing a button and saying to think again. Where am I? Well, this is cool. You can like sort of draw with this. But yeah, for those of you who don't know, this is basically a Alan Watts simulator. This is beautiful. What am I? Okay. Okay. What is this? What's this? Can I touch this? What the heck? This is a whole apes? Monkeys? Where'd that bubble go? Wow, past it. See, when I get here though, it doesn't let me. Oh, maybe I have to be a bird, I see. That kind of makes sense. So everything's having a thought. Looks like. Look closely and you will find what you're after. Don't get discouraged. Everything is here to help you. Okay, that sounds about right. That's cool. What's this? This is a golden thing. Remember this place and remember what you are. Keep it in mind as you go beyond here. You might need to find a way back to it. They just turn. Spring is here at last. I couldn't believe how long it was coming. Where's the other one? Isn't there like a bubble over here? Guess not. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Maybe they disappear after a while or something. And looks like I can't get to that. Oh, okay. Should I go somewhere? Where is there to go? I am here. Ha. Oh, he's on the right. Hi, Terps. You found me, finally. We've been waiting for you for such a long time. Notice my dot had the icon. Look out for this with Look out for others with this. We are here to show you what you're able to do and help you navigate everything. Good luck. Yeah, see, I was trying to find one like that, but and pop out. Wait, is this the same one? Yep. I think so, huh? I think so. Like cedar or something. Oh, it's raining. Yeah, the water's nice. If I ever met another reed that has an opening for a new friend, well, what will I say? How can I trick it into liking me until I die? That's a very good question, reed or cedar, whatever you are. Everything sings. Singing is how all things communicate. Singing helps things find or avoid one another. It depends. It depends bonds between some things and separates others. How it's how things announce their existence. So singing. So sing. So sing all day long. I want to hear. I didn't read it. If other things hear you, you might sing it back. Oh. Oh. Whoa. Whoa, there's Skipper. It's still raining. Good day too. There's a lot of dots over here. Let's see. As you wander around, you might sometimes feel a bit lost. That's normal and you don't need to worry about it. Lots of things have passed through here and felt the same. But eventually everything finds its what it's looking for. Hey, how far back do you think mooses go? You might not always feel it, but you took trillions of generations of mooses getting mixed up all the way back to forever. It's incredible you made it through and finally arrived here. The other mooses around here are reflections of you from back then, each with their own dreams and their own lives to live. As you meet other mooses, you will sometimes feel inseparable from them, and find where you really start and end is up to you. I met a bunch of them. Why didn't you guys let me know? Oh wait, they're right here. What the? Damn, son. This is my favorite spring. It's really magical. There are moments of great beauty in its little realm. That true, that true. I am so bored already. There's nothing to do. Where am I supposed to go? Kick it, bro. What if you just like sit here? Where'd it go? Oh no, I missed it. I guess you can just miss that stuff. Sounds weird. Don't bother trying to keep anything secret from me. The whole point of secrets is to be revealed, and there's no use for them. There's a moose that's lonely? Where is it? I didn't see any mooses. Huh. Maybe we already got him. There you are. Over time you might find there's no right or wrong path to take here. As you explore, you might feel that parts of you need to go their own direction because you can't control everything at once. At least not yet. Try letting go of a few things. Release some mooses by pressing or holding. That's cool, we just found one right now. You're off on a great adventure. I wish I could join you. Maybe one day I'll be able. I hope this won't be my last spring. I have a strong feeling it will be. I'm glad to see it. Hey, this guy just moved for no reason. What's the big idea here? I think right now is a good time for a little side quest. As long as you keep moving in any direction you choose, that will take you where you need to go. Damn, couldn't have said it better myself. Oh yeah, and I forgot that it moves by itself. So I could just literally just watch this play out. Yeah, I was gonna finish the stab that I was taking earlier. After that, pour a little juice, my juice. Alright. Hey, what do you make of this walking around? All the plants and the little creatures are there, here, or are they here? It's hard to imagine that everything could be here for each other. Because you can only see things from a loose perspective. And just as I can only see from Ron's perspective. But if you want to, you can always see things from a little thing's point of view. Try it. Alright, let's do that. Descend, get close to something small. There you are. Wow. I'm a critter. Oh, I can move. Oh, this is cool. Very cool. Very, very cool. You can descend to the level below. Whoa, hey. You know, that's what I kind of, honestly, this is what I do on a daily. I just sit around and shit, but, like, you know, essentially, you know, as I don't know, not necessarily like conscious, or, you know, levels. But seeing things smaller, you know, in a different dimension, you could say. Um, you know, there is that sort of idea. Looks like you've seen things from a little thing's point of view. Now you might be wondering what it's like to see things from other way around. To see things from a from a bigger thing's point of view. Out of all the points of view you find, which one is the right one? That's cool. That's cool. But yeah, as I was saying, what can I tell you? I've been trying to wake up from this dream my whole life, but it's not happening. What was I saying? Yeah, just kind of trying to embody a lower level, like maybe a dog or a cat. What they what they see. I mean, you can't really say they. I guess you could put it as overthinking. They just think what they need to think. They're so efficient that they're only what they are. They don't entitle themselves to even being themselves essentially, but they are allowed to be themselves by solely thinking of what's efficient and purposeful. But humans, yeah, that's why I say overthinking. They just add and complicate, which is a product from consciousness or thinking itself. But it's what we think on, that makes it. Oh wait, what? Oh, I'm a little fun guy now. Dope, bro. Let me read this first. Alright, then. Go around saying we don't know anything about anything. But no, you at least think you know that. True? True? I'm feeling kinda weird. I ate some dirt earlier and it's not going down too well. I don't know why. I don't know why I did that. What the fuck? What's this? What there is?
I find it a little difficult to say what the subject matter of this seminar is going to be, because it's too fundamental to give it a title.
Alan Watts.
I'm going to talk about what there is. Now, the first thing, though, that we have to do is to get our perspectives with some background.
I guess this is it.
About
I
the
guess
basic
I expected
ideas
something else.
which influence
Now,
our everyday common sense.
I'm disappointed.
Our fundamental notions about what life is about. Ideas of the world,
my way along
which
this
are built into
one
the very
direction now
nature
for
of the
13 years
language we use.
now, but I
of
have
our
no idea
ideas
where
of
I'm
logic
supposed to
and
go.
of what makes sense altogether.
I'm
And these basic ideas I call myth, not using the word myth to mean simply something untrue, but to use the word myth in a more powerful sense. A myth is an image, in terms of which we try to make sense of the world.
True. What's this? Oh, that's cool. I'll be right back. I'll let this guy just do his thing. Yeah, I just really resonate with that definition, I guess you could say. Hey, cool face. Excuse me as I swallow my vomit. True. Right. Got you, bro. Where to next? And this feels like the bomb is high. It's just because I'm stoned, but I mean like this simulation of like everything. Because I mean, everything is essential to evolution. Or for evolution. I feel alive. Marry me, please. Feelings can be deceiving, can't they? Oh, this is sick, dog. You know, just chilling, just existing. Yeah, that's me. That's funny. Whoa. Is this like linear, or is it just the ones you already... Yeah, I think it is kind of linear, like when I first heard them. Yeah, right now I'm just munching on some. Man, that guy's scary. Go away. It's pain in all directions. Pain and pain, pain up and down. Facts, bro. But yeah, I mean some world that people. Oh wait, I want to hear it.
You, as a human being, you grow out of this physical universe in just exactly the same way that an apple grows off an apple tree. So let's say the tree which grows apples is a tree which apples, using apple as a verb. And a world in which human beings arrive is a world that peoples. And so the existence of people is symptomatic of the kind of universe we live in. Just as hair on a head is symptomatic of what's going on in the organism. But we have been brought up not to feel that we belong in the world. So our popular speech reflects it. We say, I came into this world. You didn't. You came out of it. We say, face facts. We talk about encounters with reality. As if it was a head-on meeting of completely alien agencies. And the average person has the sensation that he is a somewhat that exists inside a bag of skin, a center of consciousness, which looks out at this thing and what the hell's it going to do to me? I recognize you. You kind of look like me, and I've seen myself in a mirror, and you look like you might be people. So maybe you're intelligent. Maybe you can love too. And perhaps you're all right. Some of you are anyway. You've got the right color of skin, or you have the right religion, or whatever it is, you're okay. But there are all those people over in Asia, Africa, and they may not really be people. When you want to destroy someone, you always define them as unpeople.
I was pretty sure there was one right here. Wonder where I am. Might be like a swamp or something. Let's go to the fundamentals. To the root of the root. Change and then make change and then more change. I like whatever color you call yourself. Dang, what is this, poetry? Open pollen color category. A tree pollen, what? Oh, there's a lot of things here. Whoa. I have no idea. Whoa, it's pretty small, huh? This is like a worm? What am I? Oh, you are X-ray curl. So. Moving intensifies. I can go inside of myself. So basically back to the stars. Fucking hell, mate. What the fuck? You are comics? What? There's a name for this stuff? Another idea altogether.
We have this hostility to the external world because of the superstition, the myth, the absolutely unfounded theory that you yourself exist only inside your skin.
It's
Now, I want to propose another idea altogether. Billions of years ago, you were a big bang. But now you're a complicated human being. But so we define ourselves as being only that. If you think that you are only inside your skin, you define yourself as one very complicated little curlicue, way out on the edge of that explosion, way out in space and way out in time. And then we cut ourselves off and don't feel that we are still the Big Bang. But you are. Depends how you define yourself. You are actually. If
you
this
think
is the way
about
things
it,
started, if there was a Big Bang,
is it?
you're not something that is a result of the Big Bang.
Business, you know.
You're not something that is a sort of puppet on the end of the process. You are still the process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You are the Big Bang, the original force of the universe coming on as whoever you are. See, when I meet you, I see not just what you define yourself as, Mr. So-and-so, Miss So-and-so, Mrs. So-and-so. I see every one of you as the primordial energy of the universe coming on at me in this particular way.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm that too. But we've learned to define ourselves as separate from
Okay, cool. Not. At least there's no zeros and ones. It's just zeros. That's cool. This is cool. But no matter how cool it is, you know, you're always gonna. Yep. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, so what are you gonna call this now, game? No matter where you go, there's no placement or displacement. There are no directions. All things that are all things that are all things. No, 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 no. On. Oh no, oh no, oh no. It feels like you're going inside of it. But it's probably not moving much, actually. Oh, fuck.
what I would call a kind of a basic problem we've got to go through first is to understand that there are no such things as things. That is to say, separate things. That is only a way of talking. If you can understand this, you're going to have no further problems. I once asked a group of high school children, what do you mean by a thing? And first of all, they gave me all sorts of synonyms. They said it's an object, which is simply another word for a thing. It doesn't tell you anything about what you mean by a thing. And finally, a very smart girl who was in the group said a thing is a noun. And she was quite right. A noun isn't a part of nature, it's a part of speech. There are no nouns in the physical world. There are no separate things in the physical world either. See, the physical world is wiggly. The clouds, mountains, trees, people are all wiggly. And only when human beings get working at things, they build buildings in straight lines and try and make out that the world isn't really wiggly. But here are we sitting in this room all built on straight lines, but each one of us is as wiggly as all get out.
Duality, bro. Super enlightened man. Sick, bro. Oh. Let's keep going. So what is this called? It's weird. Sometimes they give names and sometimes they don't, I guess. It's cool though. It's like a nebula or something. Oh, you see, you're super close there. Wouldn't it be crazy though, like if you literally zoomed in on anything, you end up finding our own universe? Like the universe that we live in, you just find the same one and sort of just repeats. But I guess maybe that's what also people define as dimensions. You reflect yourself over and over, a great mirror moving through space. All these stars are your brothers and sisters. Let's see if I can read this first. You're the water cleaning itself, and air breathing itself, and the stars shining themselves. Well, I mean, everything is essentially just dust, you know, it's dirt. No matter how, like soap, you know, soap is a type of substance. It's this type of material. We don't see it as, you know, dirt, but I mean everything is a type of dirt. Life mostly involves going out and entangling yourself with others. But I want to show you another way of getting mixed up. A very beautiful thing you can do, and that's dancing. To dance is to move in a pattern and not towards anywhere in particular. To make yourself this destination, and to enjoy never quite arriving. It's like to die without dying. Dancing always takes two, but the more the merrier. Everything dances a little differently, so try doing it with different things. That's right. Gotta mix up them spices. Join two or more things, then stop moving. Press triangle to dance. I forgot to be singing, man. That would have been cool, huh? You're the echo chamber listening to itself, and the eye watching itself, and the mind thinking itself. True, bro, true. True. I forgot it. Yeah, I keep forgetting to do all these things. Everything's such a trip. Getting a hold of the wiggly world.
Now then, when you want to get control of something that wiggles, it's pretty difficult, isn't it? You try and pick up a fish in your hands, and the fish is wiggly and it slips out. What do you do to get hold of the fish? You use a net. And so the net is the basic thing we have for getting hold of the wiggly world. A net is something regular. And I can number the holes in a net. So many holes up, so many holes across. And if I can number these holes, I can count exactly where each wiggle is in terms of a hole in that net. But in order to do that, I've got to break up the wiggle into bits. And I've got to call this a specific bit, and this the next bit of the wiggle, and this the next bit, and this the next bit of the wiggle. And so these bits are things which I mark out in order to talk about the wiggle, in order to measure it, and therefore in order to control it. But in nature, in fact, in the physical world, the wiggle isn't bitted. So the world doesn't come thing. You and I are all as much continuous with the physical universe as a wave is continuous with the ocean. The ocean waves, and the universe peoples. And as the wave, I wave at you and say, you. The world is waving at me with you.
Eternity is
saying,
a dimension
hi,
of
I'm here.
here and now. Nothing else.
But the way we feel and
experience
sense
it
our
is
existence,
a function
being
of-
based on a myth that we are made, that we are parts, that we are things, our consciousness has been influenced so that each one of us does not feel that. We feel we have been hypnotized, literally hypnotized, by social convention into feeling and sensing that we exist only inside our skins, that we are not the original bang, but just something out on the end of it. And therefore we are scared stiff. Because my wave is going to disappear. And I'm going to die. And that would be awful.
I guess I can get any smaller.
You are a fluke. You are a separate event. And you run from the maternity ward to the crematorium, and that's it, baby. Now, why does anybody think that way? There's no reason to, because it isn't even scientific. It's just a myth. And it's invented by people who wanted to feel a certain way. They want to play a certain game. Camus said there is only really one serious philosophical question, which is whether or not to commit suicide. Should you or not commit suicide? This is a good question. Why go on? And you only go on if the game is worth the candle. Now, the universe has been going on for an incredible long time. And so, really, a satisfactory theory of the universe has to be one that's worth betting on. That's it seems to me, absolutely elementary common sense. If you make a theory of the universe which isn't worth betting on, why bother? Just commit suicide. But if you want to go on playing the game, you've got to have an optimal theory for playing the game.
Yep. So the friction between things and other things. Thoughts will never exist if everything thought it was the same thing. As you go on around listening to things, their thoughts will make impressions on your mind. When you go out and experience life, you will have your own thoughts, and they will reflect the things you listen to and absorbed. Just thinking ago. Just try not to take it too seriously. Whole life to itself, and then go around saying we don't ever need to be honest. I guess just follow my way. There's nothing to get, only things to get rid of. How to get rid of nothing. Things live on me, in me, outside of me. They're all come and go, thinking themselves separate here and together there. I am all of them and they are all of me. I wish I knew a better way to convince you how special you are. That's a good one. That's funny. I'm telling you, man, cosmic humor, dude. It knows the funnies. Oh, there's one right here. This is literally how my trips go. Symptomatic of the scheme of things.
If there is any such thing at all as intelligence and love and beauty, well, you found it in other people. In other words, it exists in us as human beings. And as I said, if it is there in us, it is symptomatic of the scheme of things. We are as symptomatic of the scheme of things as the apples are symptomatic of the apple tree or the rose of the rose bush. The earth is not a big rock infested with living organisms, any more than your skeleton is bones infested with cells. The earth is geological, yes, but this geological entity grows people. And our existence on the earth is a symptom of the solar system and its balances, as much as the solar system in turn is a symptom of our galaxy. And our galaxy in its turn is a symptom of the whole company of galaxies. Goodness only knows what that's in.
Yeah, I've been eating some sweet potato fries with some regular potatoes and some asada beef. Yeah, this thing, it's such a trip. A process, a pattern, a force permeating every dimension, indivisible and yet countless in parts, and you in every direction. Everything is equally true and equally false. Yeah. Fuck, I didn't mean to do that. It's basically a time simulator. Past, present, and future. As dark as your days may get, remember that all is well in the universe. It couldn't not be, and that ultimately all is well with you too. All the heavens and all the worlds are within us. There are magnified dreams. I'm everything, you're everything, and everything's everything. One system of behavior.
When, as a scientist, you describe the behavior of a living organism, you try to say what a person does. It's the only way in which you can describe what a person is. Describe what they do. Then you find out that in making this description, you cannot confine yourself to what happens inside the skin. In other words, you can't talk about a person walking unless you start describing the floor. Because when I walk, I don't just dangle my legs in empty space. I move in relationship to a room. And so in order to describe what I'm doing when I'm walking, I have to describe the room. I have to describe the territory. So in describing my talking at the moment, I can't describe this just as a thing in itself, because I'm talking to you. And so what I'm doing at the moment is not completely described unless your being here is described also. So if that is necessary, if, in other words, in order to describe my behavior, I have to describe your behavior and the behavior of the environment, it means that we've really got one system of behavior. That what I am involves what you are. I don't know who I am unless I know who you are. And you don't know who you are unless you know who I am. In other words, we're not separate. We define each other. We're all backs and fronts to each other. We and our environment, and all of us and each other, are interdependent systems. We know who we are in terms of other people. We all lock together. And this is, again and again, the serious scientific description of how things happen. And any good scientist knows that what you call the external world is as much you as your own body. Your skin doesn't separate you from the world. It's a bridge through which the external world flows into you, and you flow into it. Just, for example, as a whirlpool in water, you could say because you have a skin, you have a definite shape, you have a definite form. The whirlpool is a definite form, but no water stays put in it. The whirlpool is something the stream is doing. And exactly the same way, the whole universe is doing each one of us. And I see you today, and I recognize you tomorrow, just as I would recognize a whirlpool in a stream. I'd say, oh yes, I've seen that whirlpool before. It's just near so-and-so's house on the edge of the river, and it's always there. So in the same way, when I meet you tomorrow, I recognize you. You're the same whirlpool you were yesterday. But you're moving. The whole world is moving through you. All the cosmic rays, all the food you're eating, the stream of steaks and milk and eggs and everything is just flowing right through you. When you're wiggling the same way, the world is wiggling, the stream is wiggling you. But the problem is, you see, we haven't been taught to feel that way. The myths underlying our culture and underlying our common sense have not taught us to feel identical with the universe, but only parts of it, only in it, only confronting it, aliens. And we are, I think, quite urgently in need of coming to feel that we are the eternal universe, each one of us. Otherwise, we're going to go out of our heads. We're going to commit suicide, collectively, courtesy of H-bombs. And, all right, supposing we do, well, that will be that, and it'll be life making experiments on other galaxies. Maybe they'll find a better game.
Man, I'm tripping out. I feel like I took acid and shrooms, dude. But yeah, what you said about that, about the Big Bang, I mean, it does seem kind of possible that the Big Bang could be just a ginormous a ginormous mega super, like, you know, ultra H-bomb or something, you know, like, just as humans evolve, and or just has more, advanced minds create things. It could be possible that it could be tinier, but even more, explosive. And that's what we think creates the universe, but the universe was created from time, which is something that doesn't exist. Life is always fair. It can't be any other way. Only it might not always look at that way from your point of view. You're the one doing all this. The relief of your free will lives in your imagination. This most certainly isn't real, but you are. Which makes this real. I think I've been this thick for too long. We'll start. Things that happen to us.
I wonder if it's ever struck you how curious a thing it is that most of the things that we experience we regard as things that happen to us, which we ourselves do not originate, which are events expressing some sort of power or activity that is external to ourselves. And if you consider that, you realize that what you mean by yourself is rather narrowly circumscribed. Even events that go on in our own bodies are put in the category of things that happen to us in the same way as things that go on in the world outside our skins. If there's a thunderstorm or an earthquake, well, it happens to you. You're not responsible for it. But so in the same way, when you have hiccups, you didn't plan on it. If you have belly rumbles, you had no intention of doing it. And as to the catastrophic act of getting born, well, you had nothing to do with that. And you can spend all your life blaming your parents for putting you in the situation in which you find yourself. And this way of looking at the world in this sort of passive mood as something that happens to you goes right down to our general feeling about life. It goes down to the way in which we have been accustomed to look at human existence as a precarious event in a cosmos that, on the whole, is depicted as being completely unsympathetic and alien to our existence. if you're reared with a 20th century, or shall we say an early 20th century common sense, which is based on the philosophy of science of the 19th century. You regard yourself as an accident, a biological accident, in a stupid universe, which is mechanical, but has no feelings. A vast, pointless gyration of radioactive rocks and gas in which you happen to occur. Of course, if you don't have that point of view and you are more traditional, you look upon yourself as a child of God, and therefore under authority. In other words, there's a big boss on top of all this. And you better watch your P's and Q's, because that Almighty is looking after you, with the attitude of this is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. And when you look at the world in that image, or in the other image that it's a stupid mechanism, either point of view you take, you don't really belong. You're not really part of all this. Or to put it in the strongest possible way, it is quite alien to our thought that the external world, which is defined as something that happens to you, and your body itself is something that you got caught up with, it is quite alien to consider all that as you yourself. Because you see, we have such a myopic view of what oneself is.
Where is it?
Now, we come here to an extremely important principle, which is the different points of view you get when you change your level of magnification. That is to say, you can look at something with a microscope and see it a certain way. You can look at it with the naked eye and see it in a certain way. You look at it with a telescope and you see it in another way. Now, which level of magnification is the correct one? Well, obviously, they're all correct. They're just different points of view. When we examine our bloodstreams under a microscope, we see there's one hell of a fight going on. All sorts of microorganisms are chewing each other up. And if we got overly fascinated with our view of our own bloodstreams in the microscope, we should start taking sides, which would be fatal, because the health of our organism depends on the continuance of this battle. What is, in other words, conflict at one level of magnification is harmony at a higher level. Now, could it possibly be, therefore, that we, with all our problems, conflicts, neuroses, sicknesses, political outrages, wars, tortures, and everything that goes on in human life, are a state of conflict, which can be seen in a larger perspective as a situation of harmony?
Are you the thing that's being eaten, or are you eating the thing? To eat is to allow yourself to get chewed up, or else you just wither like a unfed tree. Yo.
And you can say, aha, at last I see, I got the point. I've seen how all this makes sense. But what this insight depended upon was your overcoming the illusion that space separates things. That is to say, the space, the interval between your body and mine. the interval created by birth at one end and death at the other. And then after somebody's death, then somebody else's birth. These are events with intervals between them. And normally we regard these intervals in time and these intervals in space as having no importance, no function. We tend to see the universe itself as really consisting in all the stars and galaxies. That's what it is. That's what we notice. But the space in which all this happens is sort of written off as something that isn't really there. But what one has to realize is that the space is an essential function of the things in the space. After all, you can't have separate stars unless there is a space around them. Eliminate the space and you will see you couldn't have this phenomenon at all. And vice versa. You couldn't have the space. They wouldn't be there in any sense whatsoever if there weren't the bodies in it. So the bodies in the space and the space are two aspects of a single continuum. They're related together in exactly the same way as a back and a front. And you just don't get one without the other.
For every idea, there has to be an idea to back it up, to correlate. To give it existence. Or at least to think it.
So the moment you see that intervals, that space is connective, you can understand at once how you are not just to be exclusively defined as a flash of consciousness that occurs between two eternal darknesses. That you consider that in the darkness that comes before your birth, there was no you, and in the eternal darkness that follows your death, there is likewise no you. And I'm going to discuss these matters not by appealing to any special spooky knowledge, as if I had been traveling on the higher planes and knew all my previous incarnations and therefore could tell you authoritatively that you are much more than this individuality. I'm going to do it on a basis of complete common sense, that everybody has access to the facts. Life is a pattern of immense complexity. And what you call yourself as a living organism, say, I am my whole body at the very least. Now, what is that body? That body is recognizable, and I recognize my friends when I meet them again, and you recognize me. Although the last time any of you saw me, I was absolutely something entirely different from what I am now. Just as the flame of a candle is never a constant. The flame of a candle is a stream of hot gas. Only you say the flame of the candle as if it were a constant. Well, it is a recognizably constant pattern. But in exactly the same way, we are all constant patterns. And that's all we are. The only thing constant about us at all is the doing rather than the being. It's the way we behave, the way we dance. Only there's no we that dances. There's just the dancing. There is no thing that whirlpools. There is the whirlpool. And in the same way, each one of us is a very, very delightfully complex undulation of the energy of the whole universe. Because life is basically a game of hide and seek. Because life is pulsation. On and off. Here it is, and now it isn't. And by being this pulsation, we know it's there. Now, from those very tiny fast rhythms, which give us the impression of continuity, there are also in this universe immensely slow rhythms. And these are very difficult for us to keep track of. And they impress us and depress us as our own life and death, as our coming and going, which goes for what is to us such a slow pace that we can't possibly believe that it is really a rhythm. We think of it as our birth, as something quite unique that could never occur again, because we're so close to it, you see, and it's moving so slowly. The process of growth, the basic process of biology, is one in which lower orders are always being superseded by higher orders. But the lower order can never figure out, or only very rarely figure out, what the higher order is that's taking over. And may see it as a terrible threat, as total disaster, as the very end, but can never be aware that the principle of growth always has and always will continue. Because that's what's going on. But you never know what the next step is going to be. Because if you did know, you wouldn't take it. Because it would already be past. Do you understand this? That any certainly known future is an event of which and in that sense it's past. When we play a game, the outcome of the game becomes certain. We at that point cancel the game and begin a new one. Because the whole zest of the thing, which takes me back to the idea that this whole thing is a hide-and-seek game, is that you don't know what the next order coming up is.
That's my entire life.
We have this rather myopic way of looking at things, and we screen out from attention anything that is not immediately important to a scanning system based on sensing danger. But quite obviously, you as a complete individual are much more than the scanning system. You are in relationships with the external world that on the whole are incredibly harmonious. The energies of life in the form of temperature, light, air, and food, and so on, are streaming through you all at this moment in the most magnificently harmonious way. When anything is constant, it says, okay, that's safe, it's in the bag, needn't pay attention to that anymore. And therefore, we eliminate systematically from our awareness all the gorgeous things that are going on all the time, and instead only become focused on the things, the troublesome things that might happen to upset it. Which is all right, but we make too much of it. We make so much of it that we identify our very selves, I, ego, with the radar, with the troubleshooter. And that's only a tiny fragment of one's total being. you very soon realize that your existence is not something that is just the hopeless little creature that's suddenly confronted with a great big external world that goes gah at him, and eats him up. Every tiniest little thing that comes into being, every minute little fruit fly or gnat or bacterium, I will go so far as to say is an event upon which this whole cosmos depends. This thing goes both ways. It's not only that every little organism which exists depends on its total environment. The reverse is also true, that the total environment depends on each and every one of those little organisms. So that you could say this universe consists of an arrangement of pattern in which every event is essential to the whole thing. Now, we screen that idea out of our consciousness in exactly the same way that we screen out the perception of space as an important reality. Just as we pay attention to the figure and ignore the background, so we see one way of looking at things, namely that the organism is very frail against the environment. It lasts a long time, the environment, but the organism only lasts a short time. What do you mean the environment lasts a long time? What does the environment consist of? Just a lot of little things. When you get far enough away from all the organisms and the little bits of things, you see the environment in another scale of magnification. But actually, the whole thing is arranged in a polar system where the enormous depends on the tiny and the tiny depends on the enormous. And you get a relationship between these extremes which can be called a transaction. They always go together. So in this way, we are always, as it were, overemphasizing a certain aspect of our experience. We say now, what is important about people? Is their unique individuality. And we have been given an immense psychic investment in our own individuality by our upbringing. What are you going to amount? What are you going to contribute to human life? What's your particular destiny going to be? It's a fine idea. But the thing we don't understand is that it won't work, this great idea, without being balanced with its opposite. Just as you can't have the back without the front. So you cannot have the values of a unique personality unless at the same time everybody recognizes that there is another level at which we're not unique at all, but that I am you and you are I. See, every one of you feels that you're the center of the universe, and that everything else is happening around you in a circle. You turn around and you can see sort of equally far in all directions, especially if you're in a ship in the middle of the ocean. So you're in the middle. And it's true from the standpoint of astronomy. We live in a curved space-time continuum, that is to say in a universe at which every point may be regarded as the center. Consider a sphere. Here's a ball. What point on this ball is the center of its surface? You can see at once that any point can be the center of its surface. So legitimately, all points in the universe are the center. we are all like the nerve ends on your own skin. See, at every point on your skin, there's a little nerve end going beep and getting information from the outside world. Another and another and another, all over. And they all constitute your total sensitivity. So in the same way, when all these people sitting around here, with their little eyes and little ears and things, they're going beep, and they're all really one common center called I, which is looking at itself from ever so many different points of view. Only we are so close to it, and we are so absorbed in the different ways each one of them is doing, that we neglect the community underneath. But we don't realize, you see, that just as we know how to do this, we know equally well how to turn the sun into light, how to blue the sky, how to blow the wind, how to wave the ocean, how to digest food, and I might add, to be digested and transformed, but the pattern keeps going, and it's always you. Only you see, you have this marvelous capacity to transform yourself without knowing that you're doing it. Therefore, you keep surprising yourself. And therefore, you keep on doing it. Because if you didn't surprise yourself, you wouldn't go on doing it. It's just the very fact, you see, that you seem to be the victims of a thing you don't understand, and that you seem to conclude your life every time in a wipeout called death, where all your control goes, is just exactly that opposite condition to what you call being alive that allows you to be alive.
The weather.
One of the first things which everybody should understand is that every creature in the universe that is in any way sensitive and in any manner of speaking conscious regards itself as a human being. That is to say, it knows and is aware of a hierarchy of beings above it and a hierarchy of beings below it. If you take such a tiny creature as a fruit fly, which lives only a few days, it is aware of all sorts of weird little animals and objects and spores floating in the atmosphere which we don't even notice unless we've got a microscope around. And it criticizes them as being inferior animals and all that sort of thing, whereas human beings are things that it doesn't comprehend. They're as much outside its intellect as a quasar is outside ours. And we see these far-off objects floating in the heavens, and we have only the vaguest idea of what they may be. But there is, I think, a fundamental principle that everybody must understand, and that is the principle of relativity. That is to say that wherever you are, and whoever you are, and whatever you are, you're in the middle. That's the game. when you stand and you can see a horizon all around you to exactly the same distance. You're in the center of a circle because your senses extend a certain direction in all directions and therefore give you the impression of being in the middle. Now, everything in the world feels like that. And also it has its own kind, which look natural to it. You see, spiders and hydras and sea urchins and so on don't look very natural to us. We say, well, I wouldn't want to look like that. But they say when they see us, well, what kind of an awful thing is that? And what a lot of nonsense it does. Because the definition of a person is where you look from. And they, you see, in their situation, feel just as cultured as we can possibly feel. And they have their distinctions and their snobberies, just in the same way that we do. Because you see, they dig all sorts of things that we don't even notice. We think a person is cultured because they play the piano or the violin or they read poetry or they have a big library and they have paintings all around and they have a fancy house and so on, and we say, well, there's a person of culture, and we can see at once that this is really some rather elegant human being. But when you get down into the world of fishes, they have exactly the same thing. Only, instead of depending on collecting a lot of books and things like that, it is the precise way, the very subtle wiggles of a tail, the little tremors of vibration that makes one fish a very superior fish as compared with other fish. And all the other fish look at that one and say, oh my, to be like that, what a genius. To be able to do just that little extra thing, see? Because they're very sensitive. Even airplanes in formation can't begin to do what birds and fish can do in their communal swirling dances that they do.
This is what terps are, dude. Condensed. There only is. In the same way that we can define a meaning through a word or through the use of a word, we can equally equate reason and significance.
Here is a very strange thing. That every creature, therefore, which feels that it is human, and which knows that it's there in the same way as you know you're here, experiences being here as constituting a sort of blockage. The sensation of a certain tension which constitutes the feeling of I-ness, of there-ness, of being here. Because after all, every creature is a particular form. Everything is individual. Not only you as a total organism standing here, but all the component cells of your body. Each one of them has some sort of a feeling of its own. And it is individual. You can look at a microscope at the right level of magnification, and you can see that thing there with its own little life. And if you examine the stream of your blood, you'll find it full of all kinds of organisms that are having all sorts of conspiracies and games and plots and eating each other and doing these things that like we do. Only we realize that we wouldn't be healthy as a total organism unless there were all these wars and fights and plots and politics going on between the various cells in our blood. But from their point of view, you see, they feel a little bit put out because they're being organized.
There's a lot of thoughts here. Whoa. What is this? Whoa, arcades? Yo, that's sick. Yo, instruments? Yo, I'm in play, bro. Hey, chirps. This is an unpromised land. a frog. Space junk. Hmm. Well, it looks like. Well, let's see. Yeah. Okay, let's see. No, this goes back to this. Hmm. Well, since there aren't any more, how do you say, it won't actually ascend. It's perverted. Wow. Well, I think I'm gonna give it a rest here since I don't see any more Alan Watts quotes, so I figured it'll be a good spot. Hopefully, by the next time, I'll still be here and I'll work from there. This is my first playthrough. Let's end with this. I never really knew what. Oh, okay. I already read that. So, yeah, they just repeat. Alright, guys. Oh, I was gonna say actually, if this interests you, you should check out the book about knowing who you really are, or something. I think it's called that, or the Great Taboo, or the taboo against knowing who you really are, something like that by Alan Watts, and any other YouTube videos actually. These are pretty potent. Seem to me that they only I've only really heard them on here, so yeah, I really appreciate it. This time playing it. Take care, guys. Peace.